Anthony Joshua and his next fight. There you have it. Let the clout chasing and the name dropping begin. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus UFC. Got some good fights coming up. Link is in the description of all my videos. It helps the channel. Now, just like clockwork, I put a video out before these interviews surfaced. Joshua reclaimed his belts, beat Andy Ruiz, switched some things up, and he boxed. You know, box and move, stick and move. That was the game plan. Andy Ruiz looked rather cathartic and sloppy. He wasn't in the prime shape, and he followed Joshua. Joshua used his attributes, his height, his power. Well, not really his power, but, you know, I think he has power. That's a better way to put it. I don't think he was sitting down on all of his punches. Like, he did, you know, he didn't want to get in exchanges. So he used his length and, you know, mobility, being in better shape and more discipline to his advantage, beat the man fair and square, right? And then now he reclaimed his titles. So I made a video. I gave you my thoughts, and just as predicted, this is the Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua game. You're going to hear a lot of name dropping, Tyson Fury, fights with Deontay Wilder, especially Wilder's name, because Wilder's name is bubbling. And it's just hilarious to me from Team Joshua's team, because it's the same thing as 2018, mentioning them, no real chance to fight, but then, you know, falling back behind mandatories. Like, I have mandatories, so I have to fight. Like, Povetkin was a mandatory. And it's like, oh, hit list, AJ rates his rivals. Look, AJ set for homecoming at a new venue. Look at this. Joshua to Wilder. I want to be disputed. You see where it says this? I'm ready, right? So fans are supposed to get excited. Like, yeah, Joshua wants Wilder. You know, it's going to happen. Two small problems. One, the whole world knows Wilder is fighting an important rematch with Tyson Fury, and that's not a give me fight. First fight was tough. We'll see who makes the best adjustments. So for Joshua to even be using Wilder's name right now makes no sense, because, you know, that's his next order of business. Actually, when Joshua fought Ruiz the first time, we knew the game plan, and it was Luis Ortiz rematch and then Tyson Fury rematch in February. This was confirmed by both sides. Top Rank, you know, who's managing, and Frank Warren managing the Tyson Fury side, and then Deontay Wilder and his people confirmed it. So, you know, it's just a lot of clout chasing. They're talking about, oh, I want to be undisputed, I'm ready, but it doesn't make sense because the man's tied up. Just using the man's name, coattailing. This is the same thing that Joshua, his promoter, said that Wilder was doing. Now the tables have turned. Joshua was in a fight that some people, many people, are deeming boring. I don't know anyone who scored it a 10 out of 10. Listen, people gave props to Joshua for reclaiming his title. That in itself is hard enough to do, coming back off a nasty defeat. But I think part of it was Andy Ruiz's attempt at getting ready for the rematch. But beyond that, it's not Joshua's concern. He boxed and he played it safe. But a lot of people felt the fight was boring. I did. You know, I thought the whole card didn't live up to expectations. We'll just leave it at that. And, you know, Joshua say, oh, yeah, I want to be undisputed. There's another interview where Joshua won't even mention Deontay Wilder's name. He says, yeah, the current WBC champion. Like, it's like they told him not to mention Wilder at all. But you see, this is the problem. Joshua to Wilder, I want to be undisputed. Sky Sports is blasting this out, you know, trying to make fans like clamor for this. But then you look more recently, what does it say? Pulev leading the race to fight Joshua next. So it's just like a waste of people's energy to even try to get hyped over Joshua Wilder. We know Wilder's about that life. He smoked Joshua out. Eddie Hearn and AJ and, you know, the AJ man fans, they're going to say the opposite. But look, this tells you. We all know Wilder's fighting Fury in February. So what's the point of saying, oh, I want to fight him when he's already tied up? And you know that. Look at Hearn right here on the side, you see? It says Pulev is likely next for AJ. Anthony Joshua next opponent sounds like it will be Pulev, says Eddie Hearn. See? I've got to speak. Look, this is a tweet from Pulev. So it looks like it's already pretty much kind of written. This is his mandatory. And after difficult first fight with Andy Ruiz and the nerve wracking, no one knew Andy Ruiz was going to look like a different fighter in the sequel, but it had to be nerve wracking, because if Joshua would have took 2 back-to-back L's, it would have been bad, So now that this is over, this looks like a tune-up style fight, a 38-year-old Pulev, excuse me, just like a 40-year-old Povetkin, 41-year-old Klitschko. Klitschko stopped him in the 5th round, I think it was. So yeah, this looks like what the next move is going to be. So I don't even understand why Joshua's mentioning Wilder. But Pulev says, I want to congratulate AJ and Eddie Hearn on regaining the title and look forward to facing Anthony Joshua. Look at this, in his next bout. As the IBF has ordered, the result is going to be different this time, I guarantee it. So that's Pulev, 38 years old. We'll see. Maybe Pulev can make it somewhat interesting because, to be honest, I wasn't convinced with Joshua's performance. I thought Joshua did what he had to do against the threat that was in front of him. But another guy with some decent pop, I think they're going to go back to that Andy Ruiz and what we've seen, and they're going to try to come up and get creative. So a person in a bit better shape with some pop, who knows? I think from here on out, Joshua's fights have gotten extremely tough. Even fights with Pulev, you never know. We just seen Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin. This has been the year of the upset. We've seen a lot of them. So next year, I'm not saying Pulev will beat him. I would favor Joshua, but what I'm saying is I just think from here on out, Joshua's fights are tougher, especially like Usyk, because we've seen him look as vulnerable as he did in the first Ruiz fight. And the second fight, he didn't look as vulnerable, but again, some of it was his boxing, but some of it was an out of shape Andy Ruiz who couldn't string punches together and pressure him because he lived the life of a rock star in 4 months or whatever he did. So, I think people are going to get creative with their game plans, guys like Pulev and Usyk. So we know Eddie Hearn is going to opt and say this is a mandatory, so it doesn't even make sense for AJ to be calling out Wilder at this point because we know it's not going to happen due to the fact that he's already fighting Tyson Fury and due to the fact that it's likely going to be Pulev. Now, the downside is for DAZN. They're talking about putting this fight in the UK in a new venue that they have built, and I don't see this as a really sellable fight in America. So DAZN keeps getting the short end of the stick because at the end of the day, in my opinion, the UK might eat this up. They got their champ back, so they might like it, but I don't really see this being a big fight for boxing. It's definitely not going to overshadow Wilder versus Fury, in my opinion. And, American audiences, I don't think are going to really look forward to it. And the reason I keep stressing the American audiences is because this is the market DAZN is looking to crash and break into. All the DAZN, Italy and Japan, they've already been in some of those areas, right? DAZN Canada, they were in Canada before they were in America, right? The market, their American takeover that Eddie Hearn was talking about, where is it? And with the fight like Pulev, I have very little interest. This is a fight that was supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen like 2 years ago, and then Pulev pulled out last minute, and they replaced him with Carlos Takam, sometime after the Klitschko fight that same year. So this is especially Kubrat Pulev's last performance. He didn't even look good versus Rydell Booker. So this is a very low on the totem pole type of fight, but maybe that's what Joshua needs, and this is mandatory. So conveniently how these mandatories pop up for fighters like AJ and Triple G, and when the mandatory is actually somebody worth a damn and good, the fights don't happen. Like when Triple G's mandatory was Charlo, that never happened, but when it's Dominic Wade, it happened. So let me know what you rate the AJ versus Pulev fight. Is that a commercial success? Does Pulev have any shot at age 38? He might be 39 by the time they fight. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. But the clout chaser with Wilder is getting ridiculous because you're not fighting him. He already has a fight, and then now you're saying it. I don't prefer when fighters do that personally. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.